Hello, everybody, and welcome. Here we are for the remaining PlayStation 4 Grand Finals here for CGL, PlayStation 4 Diamond tier. This is of EU between Besports and Vindication Academy. My name is Artemis015, and I'm joined again by my co-caster, Head Rammer. Head Rammer, what do you expect from this? As I know you've seen probably a bit more of the NA side rather than the EU side. Myself, I actually played against these teams during this tier, so it's going to be a very entertaining final, in my opinion. But what's your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I've noticed kind of throughout this season is how competitive the Diamond tiers in each of these regions and each of these platforms are, especially due to how many of those teams there are. Oftentimes when you get to these final situations, even the playoffs, you kind of have, you should have the best of the best. But even then, because of how many of these because of how many of these records were so close to each other, usually you get some pretty good matches. You can see right here, right now, Vindication 5-3, Besports is also 5-3, so they come into this pretty much with the same record. And just you can see right here, actually, apparently everyone on Vindication Academy is 17 years old. I don't know if I'm being trolled here or if it's actually true, but that's actually pretty impressive.
If that's an impressive stat, that's actually all true, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, both these teams going in here very young. That has a benefit and it has some advantages and disadvantages to it. Advantage, you come into these games with lots of lots of drive, lots of you want to win. But at the same time, you can run into situations where you're a little bit younger side, maybe you have a little harder time controlling your emotions, or you haven't been in those high pressure situations as much. And you see Besports right here. We thought 17 was young. Besports much younger, so it's impressive to see so much talent at such a young age on all these players here. Kind of like you mentioned, based on how the Diamond tier has been throughout these seasons, I do expect this to be a pretty close game. And personally, I'm hoping for map 5. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've said a few times, I mentioned to yourself just off stream as well, that I do either expect this to go to a map 5 and be a really close series, or it's going to be a 3-0 for one of the teams. I know it sounds obviously stupid because that outcome could happen either way, but I think it's either going to be a case of both these teams are very close. And you mentioned about how close the Diamond tier was as well. And I remember there was at a stage there was 4 teams with identical records at one point. That's how close it was. With 2 games left, they had identical records. So that's when you talk about how close this Diamond tier has been. And apparently every single, obviously this is the first season of PlayStation 4, but apparently it's been the same on Xbox for a while as well.
Absolutely. Our just to give a quick example, the Xbox NA tier had 40 Diamond teams. And so everybody that made the playoffs basically had nearly the exact same record, just based on a little bit of math differential. It was so close.
I mean, yeah, you want these series to be nice and close. That's why I do expect this to go to a map 5. We have to remember, we do have the potential to go to a map 6 if there is a draw, obviously, on one of the maps. So, that could be interesting. The maps are, we've got Route 66. It's kind of hard to draw on that map. It's almost impossible. But, you've got Route 66. We have Ilios. We then have Hanamura, which is the 3rd map right in the middle, the 2CP map, which can make or break a series, really, in my opinion. And that is the one map which you can draw the most on. And then you have King's Row, we have Lijiang, and then obviously if we do go to the 6th map, we have Watchpoint Gibraltar. So, it's going to be interesting. I believe both of these teams, from what I remember when I played against them, are very GOAT sort of heavy favoured teams.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting. I'm expecting to see a lot of GOATs, whether it's going to be normal GOATs, whether it's going to be floats. But I expect, both of these teams would have been practicing for absolutely ages leading up to this final, which I think that's certainly going to make for a more entertaining series as well, because it's not going to be one team's a little under practice and taking a break. I believe these 2 teams would have been practicing every single day, trying to iron out the little mistakes that dropped some maps maybe, or dropped some games completely in the regular season. So I think we are just waiting for confirmation from both of the captains now that they are ready to go, and hopefully we can get straight into this. And hopefully, obviously the last game me and you casted, Head Rammer, I think you remember what happened on Route 66. We didn't even get past the first point, so hopefully that will happen this time.
Yeah, I want to see this. I want to see this all go all the way. Personally, I love, you know, I don't know. I gotta thrive off that intensity of like when you have such close games where, while I might have not seen any one of these teams play, I can find myself, you know, emotionally invested in just like the game itself. And it looks like we do have the ready up here from both teams. So, you know, might as well get ourselves right into it.
We might as well get started and kick off the last remaining PlayStation 4 Grand Finals. Obviously, after this, there is 2 more Xbox Finals to come later on today. So, CGL's not fully finished yet, but we will be finished with PlayStation side after this series.
Absolutely. We are not just one tier of play. We have many, many tiers of play. Starting out here on Route 66. As you mentioned before, we didn't really see Route 66 go too far earlier in this week for some teams, but I really want to see if both teams, as you said, are really into this goats play. I think we could see some pretty back and forth team fights, especially on teams that have equal level of goats.
Yeah, I do expect it to be a very entertaining series, no matter what. I'm not saying both teams are going to run goats, but you know, it is the meta. So when you're in a situation like this, do you mix it up and go for plays that you didn't normally go for? Both of these teams, you know, they do know they have ran DPS comps before in the past. And I do remember that Head Start right now is currently showing the Paul, for example. So it's not impossible for these teams to run DPS goats, DPS picks, I should say, not goats.
Did you say DPS goats? Everything's goats now.
DPS goats. Yeah, that's what I call McCree goats. DPS goats is what I call them. I do expect us to definitely have some interesting compositions, but it's not surprising that we're seeing a sort of bunker conk amount of defense. We have seen this a lot on Route 66, but normally with a Bastion, but they aren't going to have a Bastion. They're going to have a Widow Famine Mercy instead. So, you know, that's interesting that we haven't got that. And it looks like on the defense we have a dive with Baptiste. So
yeah, that's very different. I don't know what I think about that actually.
It's actually a triple support dive because they also have a Zen and a Mercy. So very interesting attack phase coming in here by Besports, who are your red team. The blue team are Vindication Academy on defense. For anyone just tuning in and wasn't aware of that. So,
the only thing I can really think of with the Baptiste is they want to throw the Immortality Field onto where they're diving.
There we go. You see the Immortality Field come out instantly there as soon as you mentioned that. But it's still a bit interesting pick to you know, use in this way, shape or form. Angry Fish got close to currently taking a nap off screen somewhere, so that was temporarily out of the fight. Well, there he is. He's in the middle of the back. He's in the back lines actually of Vindication. There, he should be punished. He will be punished eventually by FaZe on that Roadhog. So far, look how much they've pushed this payload.
Yeah, they're actually getting a lot of free push. Are they going to C9? No, okay, no, they're not going to C9. But like you mentioned, for pretty much losing that fight, like they got it really far. But actually, they're getting kills now still.
They got it extremely far, and now they're sort of even in picks. I mean, it was about time that the Vindication was able to get back into it, and then they're losing the fight now.
Wow.
Picking it up on Genji, and they've got the final rage out as well by Trophy, just battering away the Roadhog, who was the last one remaining. And just like that was extremely easy, you'd have to say, for Besports coming out with this sort of non-traditional, you'd have to say.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised. I thought they were going to be a little bit lacking some damage, and I didn't really... Like, I knew they were going to use the Baptiste for the Mentality Field on their dive, but I had mixed feelings about its play after that if the initial dive didn't succeed, and somehow they were able to grind it out. Like you mentioned, they kind of forgot about the cart, and just allowed it to be pushed entirely on the edge.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Now they're just going forward, but Ted Star's going to get picked up by Cynex. He's made that switch over from the Widowmaker to the McCree now, obviously a bit better at dealing with a dive comp. High Noon, just to zone him out, I think, more than anything there.
Yeah, now they're kind of trapped in this corner, or in this health pack area, just like, can't get out.
I mean, yeah, FaZe Blitzy's going to get picked onto Infinite Nuke, who had the Baptiste ult there, so the Baptiste is now down, so is the almost has the field to be alongside that.
About hitting 2 people. Oh, the Zen taking down.
Cynic players on this McCree has certainly made a bigger impact now that he's switched, and the CSA that he gets another kill in Infinite Nuke, and a 2k now for this team fight for him. This McCree spot definitely what they needed from the Widowmaker. A lot of ults being committed.
Oh! 30% bomb! Just, I mean, that's a way. That's how you can break the defense. I was just about to say how this section of the map right here is incredibly strong to hold with the composition Vindication was holding, and they're gonna need something big in order to break past it. But right before I said it, a 3K bomb comes out and just takes out the entire enemy backline.
I guess it's one way to take it out.
Yeah, you can see right here as the whole hog comes through and the bomb just takes out 3 people. And are they gonna be able to touch? Are they gonna choose to recontest this?
I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see if they do. The touch is going to come in, Phase Blitz is going to drop down on the Roadhog.
Oh!
But I don't think it's going to be
a little bit of late transcendence. They will get the res.
It looks like, early point of view, they've actually been able to get back here, Vindication.
Yeah, I think, they just had so many ults. In that last fight, they really didn't pop anything. They had probably 5 ults available. But we saw, just to defend this point here, they spent pretty much everything they had. Though I guess the same could be said for Besports, but it looks like they might be swapping to a goats composition now. And they are, yeah, they're swapping to goats.
The comp switch needs to have to come in eventually, and the defense. I mean, yeah, the last minute contest as well. That was as well. So Vindication leaving it late to recontest, but as you said, they had to expend a lot, but so did Besports. But they've made full composition switches, and they're not lacking of ults because they still have 2 tank ults here, but they are going to lose Joffrey early. 2 phase blitzes, also going to take out Infinite Nuke. I can feel this guy's going to throw in this bomb. He's going to get 2 with a high noon, so that bomb's really not going to do anything. He's just going to get rezzed back up there. And so far, Vindication holding a little bit better on the second point than they did on the first point, when they didn't even get a team to fight at all.
Yeah, now they're in a situation where they have a minute and a half left, and they don't have a whole lot of time to build these goats ultimates. Obviously, if you get into the fight and last a while, they'll build them up. But if they keep losing the fights this fast, I don't know if they're going to have the ultimates in time to be able to snowball it through, especially when all the spam is coming out from Vindication.
Well, they've made the switch now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rama. I believe Besports was actually on the Zen, but it's actually made the switch over to the Moirin now, which is a little bit more popular when you're playing against these DPS cons because of how much spam damage and the fact that Moirin can heal in close range. But instantly he falls, so they have to wait even longer for him to be able to get back. Looks like some switches are going to also for Vindication though, because Sonic Blaze has gone back to spawn and switched to Beaver from the McCree. CJ is going to pop these the bongos here. Looks like Vindication are maybe planning for the second point here by using a lot of
kills Mercy.
They will lose Mike Jack though.
But they trade. This Vera just laying down damage from above.
They trade a Mercy for a Lucio, and it's got its composition advantage is still for Besports, and they're gonna pop the rally as well. To maybe get aggressive and put some more pressure on this shield right now. And the Nano's gonna come out onto CJ to keep the Orisa alive. Barrage comes in by Speedy Gons, it's gonna pick up the Vegeta, but he's going to lose his life to the Coalescence. Nathan Walker's also fouled just before that.
Big shatter grab.
Grav's also committed a lot of ults, 2 big ults being committed there by Besports. In fact, they commit a lot to that fight because they also commit the Rally and the Coalescence. They commit 4 ults to be able to get the second point, and the switch is now going to happen for Vindication, as they're now going to switch over to the Zenyatta goats themselves. Be interested to see if it's Bob's going to stay in the moment. No, he's going to go back to Zen. And we will have the goats match up now for this third point. But look at the time bank.
Yeah, not a whole lot of time. That's probably they either need to win these fights fast or just not lose, because a single lost fight with how long goats can take could spill the end. But they actually already pick off Reinhardt. I will say though, I really think Vindication could have held on the second point with the offers they had available. I think they made the fight last way too long, which, when a fight goes a long time, Goats comes out in the lead because it builds his ultimates, where they could have went in aggressively and got a pick or two and potentially not allowed them to continue or build his ultimates.
No, both comes in for both sides. Sonic Players is going to pick up the Reinhardt trophy, so the Reinhardt is now down. Paco's also going to fall for Besports, so I think right now a quick refit definitely has to come in for Besports if they want to get a second fight.
But D.Va is demeched now, and Infinite Nuke coming up on this Graviton, so if D.Va isn't going to get her mech back, this could be a free grav into a transcendence.
He's going to go back to spawn and switch. He's
okay, smart, very smart.
get the mech back to have a chance at eating this Graviton Surge. You mentioned about how many that Vindication probably could have held second point. They had a lot of ults, but they just kind of wasted for no reason. So maybe they could use them to better advantage. But here we go. We're into overtime. The Graviton Surge is online for Infinite Nuke. It's the biggest ultimate online right now. Both rallies are going to come in. Both Transcendences are also online. We're just boarding it out right now. Besports to try to stand in the play. It's a huge grab. It connects before the Trance is there. There's no actual follow-up though for Besports, thanks to the Transcendence being there.
Oh, they get
speedy bombs. Oh! Shatter's got absolutely huge. Connects with 4. I think that was maybe 5. If the Zenyatta got hit right at the back there, I don't think he did. But 3 people fall instantly on defense and Vindication. Nathan Walker's also.
That should be the cap.
They have 4 ults here. Vindication.
Oh.
They've got to grab. The Sonic Play just needs to stall long enough for these respawns to come back in with these ults. There is the bomb coming by Angry Finish by the Brigitta's going to fall. There is the Shatter. It will connect, but they can't touch the point. Like CJ's grab. That was a very big
turnaround. Yeah, very big turnaround after almost being held on second point there. It seemed like I think really what pushed them there through second point was that shatter. Was that a bash shatter or was it just well timed? Did you see?
I think it was just a well-timed shatter from what I saw. I didn't see the bash come in. Maybe I'm wrong. But I didn't see the bash come in. I just saw the shatter just connect, and it was absolutely just a ginormous shatter. What I think was happening was they were focusing the barrier down, and I did hear at one point barrier destroyed. I didn't know which Warren Heart that was. But it's a very big potential that maybe it was the Vindication's Warren Heart, and that's what led to that shatter, about how low it actually was, and he couldn't put it back up to try and block the shatter and try and keep everyone else alive.
Yeah, I definitely. Both these teams seem like they have a pretty good understanding of how the Ghostplay is done. We've seen already, when they were running the Goats, they ran Moira to counter the, or to better absorb all the damage from the multiple DPS compositions. Immediately, whenever Vindication went over to the Zen Goats, we saw them switch off the Moira immediately to the Zen to provide the better, counter composition. It seems like both these teams have a pretty good read on each other right now.
And on this defense, this is the traditional defense which we have seen a lot recently with the Bastion and the Sombra, but with the Baptiste as well, so extra immortality field. And on the attack, looks like right now Vindication Academy are going to be starting at least on this triple DPS comp. Maybe some switches will be made when they see the bunker, but I think maybe they've prepared for this bunker composition by having a lot of spam between the Foul Mercy and the Zen, who unfortunately loses his life instantly, but will get rezzed with the Hanzo spam as well. And potentially Hammond trying to roll him off as the Hammond trying. He succeeds.
They need to push on us now.
They need to push while they're down off the high ground, but they wait too long. They actually get back up on the high ground and change their mind to get back to the low ground now.
Passion willingly jumps off.
Hack's going to come in to phase Blitz first, so the Hammond has to take a second just to wait to go in, but the Sombra's going to lose their life to Speedy Guns on that Pharaoh. Fantastic direct shot that was.
Oh, Evocation Matrix.
Field comes out. Baptiste obviously charges so quickly in the bunker composition like this. He charges so quickly anyway with the amount of healing he can do. Right now it looks like Vindication just taking a little break from this fight, waiting out that ultimate before they go back in. Again, it's another boot by FaZe to get him out that.
Put it down.
Luke's going to lose his life instantly. Headstars in Valve though. Got to try to deny the res. They can't. They use the mines and they use the dragons, but it still doesn't deny the res. And in the end, they actually end up losing 3 in that time in the backlines as they go in to try and deny that res. Huge players coming in by the Sombra in the backlines there, which I believe came out with 2 picks, and now has the EMP ready as well.
Yeah, that was not a great engagement if you're Vindication. It felt like they spent a good amount of ultimates, but they are coming up on an EMP barrage of their own. So this could be the moment they're looking for to cap first point.
Yeah, you are correct. There is EMPs online for both teams. Another huge beat by FaZe Blitzy on his Hammond. He's got this off the high ground every single time so far. They just got to take advantage of it.
Oh, big EMP. It's for 4. They need to get kills off this.
Before he died.
And then Will
just with that. They lose the Hammond, but he'll be back sooner rather than later. So just now, just a clean up as they're going to roll through to the first point here. We're actually just going to res the Hammond back up rather than wait for him to respawn. I don't think Besports is going to get another recontest here. They did all die as a team.
Yeah, we see right here as they come in, hit this massive EMP, and just proceed to just kind of just like wipe the team. But I mean, in the end, if you're looking at the ultimates that Besports has right now, they lost that pretty gracefully. They didn't spend any ultimates. They still have everything they need to hold on second point. And we kind of discussed about it earlier. Second point could be a hard one to break.
And yeah, I mentioned obviously because they all died together as well. There wasn't any split spawns. Meant that they'd have advantage in terms of getting the position on the high ground here, which they are to set this Pokemon. The all-infinite nuke goes for the tank form, but he dies after the dragon still remains. The immortality shield for those who survived for so long. Bomb's going to come out by Angry Finnish Guy just to re-mech, I think, more than anything there. It's not going to get any victory.
Oh, Trans
off screen during the Valk animation. Battle Mercy coming in there. Jofi's going to pop an EMP again by Sinex plays. I mean, you've got to feel sorry for Besports Summer right now. Paco's been hacked from both of these EMPs. Hasn't been able to use his own yet. But they are going to lose Mighty Jack to Infinite Nuke on the Soldier switch now coming in. Speedy Gons is also going to fall. So Besports might be able to hold this now. They are up a lot. There's only 3 people alive for the attackers right now of Vindication Academy. There's only 3 defenders as well, but obviously they have a closer respawn.
They're still getting kills though somehow.
They're just trying to push the payload right now. Vindication, they are at a disadvantage because of the spawn. You can see that Jofi's back now on the Reinhardt with that switch coming in. There's the EMP eventually by Paco. Infinite Nukes now made the switch over to Somber, and slowly but surely they're moving towards this GOAT competition now in defense Besports. With the EMP being used there. Angry Finnish Guys goes a little too far forward and will get demech. And Inspire's also made the switch over to the Moira as well to get back quicker there. The closer respawns and sort of faster heroes to get back really helped Besports in the defense today, because you saw Infinite Nuke with the Soldier just to get back, got a couple of kills. Paco's now going to make that switch over to the Brigitte, so we're on Mercy Goats right now, I guess you could finally say, because Tedstar's staying on Mercy because he has the Valkyrie. Bomb's going to come in by FaZe Blitzer.
Dragon is separate the team.
Yeah. Speedy Gons is also going to commit the barrage, which most of that's going to be defense magic.
Does get one though.
Tedstar gets hacked during his Valkyrie, but he's still able to fly around right now and still do some form of healing.
Ooh, so Beast very low, yeah.
How low they are, all their health bars are so
low. They're getting trapped in that corner.
And then eventually they will fall. Mighty Jack now comes out and gets a kill on the Mercy, only onto a Baby Diva, but still. And that's one Battle Mercy kill for both of the Mercies so far. That's now meant to switch over to the Lucio. As Jofi's actually going to get hacked here, the Reinhardt goes a little far forward. Looks to be punished by Speedy Sinex play, sorry. He's got another EMP ready. I've lost track of how many that is. I think it's about 4 or 5 for the whole game so far. I
mean, at this point, we should probably just, we can assume, based on how the EMPs have been previously, unless Besports is going to change something, this EMP should be another fight win. And if you're thinking outside of Besports, you have about 2 fights left potentially in this if you lose one big fight.
Well,
this is something with Somber Goats.
Mention about how looked like Vindication wanted to stay on this DPS comps, but as soon as I mentioned that, they all go back to spawn and switch and reset the ult banks. But what they actually do is if Bob's actually commits to the coalescence, thinking they're really aggressive. This is 6-man EMP. It's absolutely
that's massive.
Whereas the follow-up though, Jofi's going to lose his life. There's another rehack coming into the Brigitte, who's quite far forward right now. Will he be punished? I don't know. But yeah, they go back to spawn and they switch to the GOAT's composition. They need Bob to commit his coalescence, thinking they're being aggressive. So they get a free ultimate out there just for resetting their own ultimate bank.
Though they did a pretty good job though of backing up and disengaging. Though they gave up a ton of free space. Now they're within 1 fight territory. If they lose one of these fights coming up here, it's basically over. Oh, big!
I was about to mention, look at Infinite Nuke's Zarya charge for the Graviton Surge as well. He's over double what CJ is because he's been on the Zarya for longer, and he will have that available for the next team fight. So advantage is still right now with Besports on defense, and we're looking at the time bank now. Sonic's plays looks like he's trying to get a C9 in, but Angry Finnish Guys were just waiting on the Diva. But he has built up to another EMP. We are looking at a time bank now, so if Vindication Academy do finish it, both teams will get just, well, both of them will get a minute actually, in fact, I think. Especially if they do it in overtime. So
yeah,
there will be no time advantage.
They have a Sombra EMP right now. They actually, if you're in the side, Vindication has a lot of ults left. They have everything they need.
Surge has to be huge for Besports on defense.
Oh,
Shatter comes in a bit early.
Oh, 6-man! But the grab comes out and prevents the follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, the Shatter was a little early by FaZe Blitzy. I think they was going for an EP Shatter combo. It doesn't matter anyway because he connects with 6. Vindication Academy definitely have advantage right now. They want to finish this with time left if they possibly can. Looks like it's just going to be a stall play right now. Both rallies are going to come out. Barry's also going to come out by Testar. They obviously think they can still win this thanks to the spawn advantage. They are going to lose Infinite Nuke though, and Angry Finish Guy is going to get hacked. Infinite Nuke's going to make a tactical switch onto the Bastion. Early barrier coming in by Maestrat, going to be answered by Transcendence. There's the Fountain Surge by CJ. He's finally worked up to it. Where is the follow-up? Follow-up's kind of there. Trophy uses a Shatter but doesn't actually connect. Infinite Nuke's just here on the Bastion, just trying to do damage right now, but kind of gets focused down. Eventually, Angry Finish Guy will be demech and killed as well, and both teams are going to finish it in overtime. I think that means that both teams will only get a minute now for extra rounds.
Yeah, so now we basically we start the map over again. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Diamond Finals. This is gonna be going into Route 66 here. So yeah, it's basically the map. Each team just gets a minute left though. So based on the attack runs of both teams, who do you think will, assuming both teams run the same composition, who do you think would handle it better with that smaller time bank?
I mean, I don't know because the Besports, they came out with a very interesting attack. We saw with like the triple support for the Baptiste, for the dive and the Genji, and it was like kind of took us by surprise. And then the defense Vindication came out with the bunker comp without a Bastion or without a Baptiste, so they put themselves at kind of a massive disadvantage in terms of trying to counter that dive. But as soon as they switched to the McCree, it worked a lot better. I think this is desperate to what we said at the start of the stream about how close these two teams are. They've got identical records. So I mentioned about how close the series I thought it was going to be. Potential map 5, potential map 6 if we get a draw on maybe on one of the maps potentially. So in terms of who's going to have the advantage, I honestly cannot tell you, but it looks like on defense that Vindication, they're going to stick to what they know. They're going to go on with this bunker competition. They do have the Baptiste this time.
I'm actually surprised they're going with the Widow, because when Sombra works so well for them. If you remember, Syndex there was on Widow in first place last time and ended up switching over to Sombra.
He switched to McCree first and then
sorry, yeah. Oh, but I say that, it picks up spin immediately.
And they are running the same composition here, Besports. They're going for the triple support with the Baptiste, with the diver, the Diva, Winston, and Genji. An interesting composition which I don't think I've ever seen ran before, so that might have took Vindication by surprise at the start, and maybe they've prepared for it a bit more by having this Baptiste. And there you can see the immortality field coming in handy there. Jovi instantly loses his life. They are pushing the payload though right now, and this is what happened last time. Vindication did not test the payload until it was too late and they were out of position. But it looks like they are going to test it now. Speedy Guns on this Pharaoh again is doing extremely well on that hero. To get an early pick.
He's just hiding behind. Maybe they won't find him.
Who is it going to be? It's going to be the Genji who dashes on, uses both of his cooldowns, gets hooked, but doesn't get killed. This is clutch time right now. Someone needs to make a
He's pretty close to a blade.
So, Immortality Field's also out though for Besports on the payload.
Bear down! Bear head barrage.
There is the blade by Paco, gets a kill onto Nathan Walker. The Valkyrie's going to come in by Tedstar as well, just to try and keep him alive. It's actually a team wipe. I did not see that coming. Be interested to see if they're going to make any competition switches. God, sorry, excuse me, I've got a really dry throat. Let's just see if any composition switches are going to happen now as well on the defense, or whether they're going to keep this Widow. I think because they actually got staggered killed as well on the defense. This is not very good for Vindication Academy. Some of them got close spawns, some of them got the really long spawn, which you can see now. One of them being the Orisa, so their shield isn't there right now. They're able to get the high ground there because obviously Vindication, they have to stay, so Besports, they have to stay on the point. And they've actually made a full composition switch to the Zenyatta goats as well. Obviously very good for testing the payload and fighting on it now. Bomb going to come out by Angry Finish Guy, sort of off screen there. I don't know why he went for that. Speedy Gaunt goes for a barrage, but he gets cancelled out. Transcendence going to be used by It's Bob, just get aggressive here to counter the bongos as well. Again, the payload's just pushing right now. Vindication, they need to touch this payload and try and stall it out. Look how far they've got with only a minute on the clock. Whole Hog's going to come in by phase Blitzy. He gets stunned out of it though, only destroys the shield of Jofi, which doesn't make that much of a difference. They go to CJ to the micro missiles there, angry finish guy. Nathan Walker's going to commit the application field, but it's not going to make any difference because the squares just gets walked straight through. Speedy Geyser's later gets killed by a fire strike thanks to the Discord orb, and just like that, it's another team wipe.
Oh, this is
the point here, BE Sports.
Yeah, this is not great. If you're Vindication, this is not a good situation. At this point, now you're switching over to the mirror, but Besports has such a huge advantage in the ultimate bank for that mirror. This could be a really dangerous situation. You need to win a fight.
They need one team fight to win this here, but they've got the rally to use. They get aggressive if they want, or use it defensive. They're very close to the shatter. The grab is very close as well. There is the rally coming out by Paco now. They are going to go aggressive with that and push Vindication back. And right now, it's just free progress. Shatter comes out by Jofi, connects with 3, 2 of them being the support. No real follow. Infinite Nuke's just going to chuck in the Graviton Surge, connects with the Diva. So 2 kills already quickly for BE Sports, and they're not being contested right now. They're pushing this payload for free. Vindication can't contest because they're down, and the spawn advantage will come in handy. But FaZe Blitzy gets stunned and killed.
Oh, they're going to get all caps.
I think this is going to be a full cap. There are some dramatic things. Ted Star's going to commit the barrier to keep them alive. There's the bomb from Angry Finish Guy as well. Can't stay on the point for too long when that's active. Sykes players gets desuited and then killed by Infinite Nuke, and they're actually going to cap all 3 points.
That's that is a horrendous situation if you are Vindication. That's actually probably the nightmare situation. You only had a minute left, and now your opponent capped all 3 points, which last time took your entire time bank to do. It just felt like their kind of defense fell apart. Like, I actually thought they were going to be able to full hold on first point there, because they had the ultimates to do it. But again, it kind of felt like they took too long for the setup, and then they allowed BE Sports to take the initiative and use their ultimates. So it allowed them to pop their window, it allowed them to pop their blade, and the point in time it came where they were able to use their ultimates, they lost the fight already. They were already dead.
I mean, this is if that's not a message, I don't know what is. But yeah, you know, if it did the impossible to cap all the way, we'll go into an extra round on Route 66. I didn't expect the series to be this close. I mean, it looks like they're not going for no bunker comp on defense now, BE Sports. They're starting off, they're actually going to go for the Ana Goat, which is my personal favourite of the variation of Goat.
Yeah, you know, actually, I think yeah, if you're BE Sports, I think I do like what you're going for here. They realize they just need to win one fight, really. They pretty much need to win one fight, and if you lose first point, it doesn't matter. You've capped all 3. Build up your ultimates and team wipe them. That's all you need to do.
I mean, yeah, Vindication are going to come out on the super DPS comp as well, which they did run before. They're holding really close here in this little tunnel, just trying to deny this payload being pushed at all, but Sykes players are going to get a pick on Headstar. He actually shot Angry Finish Guy for half his HP as well, because he wasn't paying attention when the doors open there. So he's already half to another, he's half to the walls already. But they are going to lose Jofi, so the main tank is now down on the defense, and Angry Finish Guy is also going to get de-necked. So for now, the fight is definitely going in favour of Vindication Academy, but we do have to remember, this is only the first team fight to get the first point. They've got to get 2 more. And Infinite Nuke's actually going to pick off CJ as well. He's actually going to get slept by Nathan Walker. Looks like he's going to wake him up now to try and kill the Zarya, which is behind. It's Bob Stack, next switch over to the Moira. Gets back quicker, more healing on the payload available as well. 2 late picks, and right now they're a bit staggered right now, BE Sports, in terms of how they've died. Same thing happened to Vindication Academy. They weren't able to get in position to take the fights that they wanted to.
Yeah, if you're Vindication here, you want to make these fights go as fast as possible. You don't want to drag them out and spam them too much. You want them to just get kill after kill after kill, because the longer the fights last, the more powerful Goats becomes, and then they build up those dangerous ultimates. Like right here, they need to win. They need to win this fight right here.
Or FaZe Blitzy dies as he's halfway through the mines. Barrage is going to come in, needs to be huge.
Good, huge.
Oh, it's Bob walked into the mines by accident. I'm thinking maybe he got booped there. Jofi gets slept on the point, so the Reinhardt is now down. The Lucio is behind, he's going to get staggered out. Just seeing that Sonic plays might make the switch over to a Sombra now to try and build up an EMP.
He goes over the Reaper.
Reaper, in fact. I mean, some of them might be better here to hack the Zarya from Gravian because they don't have a defensive board right now, and I think Besports are kind of rubbing their hands together because they are very close to this Graviton Surge, and there's been no defense for it.
Yeah, we see this barrage actually saved them because I thought they were gonna, when they started losing picks to goats, I thought they were gonna lose the point, but this barrage came in and gets 3, allows them to stabilize. But right now, if you're Vindication, like I mentioned, you need these picks quick, fast, and I think they're, because you mentioned they don't have a defensive ult, I think they have to be going for situations where they get enough picks that the ultimates that Besports uses just don't get the follow-up. But the Reinhardt's anti and taken down!
The main take is down, the Nano's going to come out onto the Graviton Surge now. Where is the follow-up? 2 are down, the Mercy.
It ends here.
And it ends here, just like that. The only issue with not having a defensive ultimate against goats is you just get team wiped like that, and I think that will be the end now. There's only FaZe Blitzia left now on this Hammond to try and stall. 1 against 6. He's got a dream, but it's not going to last for long, and that will be where this series, where this map, I should say, of this series will end. But we have to remember, that's only the first map, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
that series has been. That's the first map going 6-4 on Route 66. We have Control next to the Ilios, and there's one thing about Control, it's a mad map when you're playing goats v goats matchups, and how long they can last.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the first point as well. The triple kill coming in there for Besports.
You can see both these teams really want it. I could, at this point, I could, even though Besports is the first map, I could definitely see this going to a map 5.
It's going to be a very entertaining series, but I think now we will have a little bit of a break before we go into the second map of Ilios, and boy, I need a drink after that one. Well, welcome back, everyone, and wow, we've had to take some time to adjust to what we just saw there on Route 66. I think that is by far, correct me if I'm wrong, Headram, I haven't seen some of the other games, but I'm just going to come out there and believe that's probably the closest Route 66 game we've had so far in any of the grand final matches, going all the way to a 6-4 in the end. And I mean, what are your thoughts after that map? I mean, it shows how close these two teams really are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about in the beginning, hoping it wasn't going to be something we saw earlier in the week where, it was a full first point hold, and we did not get a full first point hold. We capped it twice and then almost capped it again. It was quite an intense match. It really felt like, honestly, it felt like the game was lost for Vindication after they failed to complete their full hold on the second attack. Because after that, it snowballed very hard. It snowballed the entirety of second point and third point. It snowballed second point due to kind of some failed alt usage. At that point, they had to switch compositions to mirror the composition that Besports had already swapped to, which made them lose that point. And then third point they lost due to the ultimate advantage that was already built up for the GOATs. It was just it was a little bit of an unfortunate situation. I was actually impressed of how far Vindication was able to push it on their own attack, despite having so little time. But it's hard. I really like the decision Besports made to decide to defend with GOATs, because after you cap all 3 points, you realized we need to win one fight, and what's the best composition to win at one fight? Probably GOATs. You just need to wipe the team.
I mean, yeah, we saw that with the Graviton Surge coming out and Vindication not having a defensive ult, and they just got wiped. So, you build up that Graviton Surge, there's not a Diva on the other side because they've stayed in the triple DPS comp, so you've got a free grav. There's no defensive ult, so you've got a really free grav there because there's nothing that can try and stop any of the damage that comes into it. I do want to make a mention. We have to think quite far back. I think that game lasted about 30 minutes in the end. But it was on Besports' original attack. Is something that I want to mention. They went to the second point and they'd switched over to GOATs. And we saw Vindication burn like 3 or 4 ultimates before the fight even started. And then they went into a long team fight and lost the GOATs because they didn't have ults to use. And I have to think, if they saved those ultimates, they could have used them during that fight and stopped the GOATs' sort of momentum there, and potentially could have held them at that second point because there was only like 10 seconds left at that point as well. So maybe they'll be looking back at that thinking, why did we using the ultimates there was a bad decision, even though we knew that we were switching the GOATs to the third point, but why make a plan for the third point when you can hold the second potentially, Make that decision after you've lost the second, in my opinion. But I mean, it's absolutely insane series, and I can't wait for the rest of these maps. And obviously, we're going to Ilios next, which is Control, which is sort of home of Madness, as well as 2CP, which is our map afterwards. We've got probably the 2 biggest map types which are absolute for Madness coming up next in Control and 2CP. So this series is definitely not over yet. And I really do hope this goes all the way, because right now it has the makings of a Game 5, potentially a Game 6 if we do get a draw on Hanamura at this point it's going to be. But, I mean, what a start to these grand finals.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like we do have the ready up from both teams here, so, why everyone wait? Let's get right into it.
We're gonna jump straight into it. We've had to have a little bit of a break.
Ilios.
So Ilios, we come. Sunny Greece.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what we see on here. We've seen GOATs, we've seen DPS, we've seen Bunker. We're here on Ruins. I think we're gonna see some DPS on here. What about you?
I think, we will see some Widow. We did see Sonic players play the Widow there on Route 66, so it wouldn't surprise me if he goes back to playing Widow again. Yes. So, potentially we're going to see some Widow. We know Widow's always been popular on Ruins, really.
The home of Widowmaker.
So, I do expect to see some DPS comps. We saw Vindication. They played their free DPS with the Hammond, and they played a lot better. They seem to enjoy playing that more than GOATs, if that makes any sense. They were more comfortable playing that comp against GOAT.
Oh, what is this composition Besports is looking on here? This looks annoying to play against.
I think this composition is not actually what they're going to run.
No,
not what they're going to run.
It could be a debate, but if they ran this would be... I don't know. I don't know what to do against it.
They're not going to run this.
But it looks like Vindication looking just run GOATs.
Yeah, just one goat's forehead, as you say, and they're gonna. The blue team is Vindication Academy. The red team is BE Sports. New people just tune in. It is 1-0 to BE Sports after that mad game we've just had on Route 66. We've got Zenyatta goats coming out by Vindication Academy, and we have Somber goats basically.
They're just running back to spawn now. It looks like, I think because of the Moira they're running, I think they were expecting Vindication to be running a DPS composition. But that was not the case.
No, yeah, we are going to have. I think if Infinite Nukes. No, we are going to have the mirror of the Zenyatta goats against Zenyatta goats. I actually thought potentially they might have had a better advantage staying on the sort of Somber goats really that were winning, because we know how good Somber can be, and we saw earlier with both Sombers hitting very huge EMPs. So it's interesting they decided to go for this matchup. So we see what happens, but look how low some of the people are in Vindication Academy. Sonic plays and phase Blitzy for one, gets the armor patch trying to stay alive. First point control does go to Vindication Academy because BE Sports sacrifice it to go back to spawn to switch to the Zenyatta goats. But there are rallies of line from both teams. There we go, they're just going to be matched at the same time. First pick here is going to be absolutely crucial for who wins this team fight. It's a huge shatter.
Two shatters!
Both of them connect with 4 people, but Speedy Gonz is the first to fall. Nikita is down with Vindication Academy and Faith Blitz is really low. They're going to commit the Transcendence a bit late by Nathan Walker to try and keep him alive. They're going to use it to go aggressive and try and get kills, but they lose Sonic's place, Neck and CJ as well. I think Nathan Walker will want that Transcendence back, and Quick Control will eventually now switch to BE Sports. What do you think? You want that trans back now?
Probably, I would say so, because now Infinite Nuke's going to have another Graviton coming, probably before Trance will. But, I mean, once they lost their Zarya there, and Zarya is one of the main sources of damage, and losing that usually means you lose the fight.
Yeah, you mentioned about the Graviton surges. Almost online from both teams here. It will be Vindication coming back with the combo online already. Excuse me again, sorry. This is a very entertaining series right now. Rally coming by Paco. He's been able to build that a lot quicker than Speedy Gonz because of how early he died. Angry Finish guys goes in that bomb again. We saw he touched one on Route 66, doesn't get anything, but it distracts him enough. And they rush over Phase Blitz. Reinhardt now down. Vindication Academy, they're going to push up, and they're going to get a pick onto CJ as well. And some stagger kills now. The all back is just building up though for both teams right now. You can see Vindication Academy. Nathan Walker now has another Transcendence to try and counter Infinite Nuke's grab. They have 5 ults, Vindication Academy coming back, but there's also 4 ults on the defense here. Well, sort of defense, so BE Sports of the fleet as well. So a very big ultimate and comedy fight probably is going to happen here. They've actually taken lead on the percentage now as well, on the actual point itself. Grab comes in.
Is there follow-up for that?
Next 4 eventually, but the Transcendence is there by its bomb. Infinite Nuke just throw out his Graviton Surge, connects with 3. The bomb is going to come in by Sonic's players. He's going to take out Paco in the background there. The Vegeta falls. So both Graviton Surge comes out, no real follow-up from either, but the Vegeta's down.
Even D-Max. They have popped the sound barrier. They want to stay in this fight.
They want to try and stay in this fight, yeah. I think that was used to try and keep the Zarya and the Reinhardt alive because they were very low.
It's not going to be enough, though.
And killed. Maybe Ted Star would want that barrier back as well, but look at the percentage right now. 95%, 96 in fact, as it just ticks over the last second there. A lot of ults burnt from both teams as well. So I think BE Sports will be taking this right now. They'll be 1 fight territory, and they'll probably be hoping Jofi can land a huge shatter again. Both shatters online again. We saw both of them connect to 4 team members in the first team fight on this map here. So pressure on the Reinhardt right now. Rally is going to be alive for both Vegetas as well. Mytrack's got a massive advantage because he has the sound barrier, and Nathan Walker is also working towards the Transcendence. Ultimate line on both teams. Rally is going to come in by Speedy Gonz, but responding instantly, by Paco.
Shatter take it down.
It's a huge shatter back though by Faith Blitzy, but the Transcendence is there. They use Jofi still to Nathan Walker. Graviton Surge is going to come in, it's going to connect with 3 on the side of BE Sports. CJ blocked that one very quickly. It's the only Angry Finish guy left. He's going to throw that Diva Bomb up into the air. He's going to get a pick on CJ. Nathan Walker's going to fall to its Bob as well. Sam Barry's going to come in by Mighty Jack trying to keep him alive. Sonic Blaze is going to take out its Bobs and going to get D-Mech off an Angry Finish guy. It's also just going to throw the bomb in there as well, just trying to stop people from getting back. Lucio is now back. Jofi's now back on the Reinhardt. He gets stunned to prevent that charge. It's really good stun coming in there. He will not going to pick him up. Actually, they're back in numbers right now. BE Sports, it's just massive forward. Graviton Surge comes out. Infinite Nuke's got that up. Speedy Guns falls.
They're turning around.
He's going to stay alive. He's not. They're turning it around right now. Wrecker falls in by angry finish guy as well, just to get back quicker. It's Bob's Guns and the Moira to get back quicker. So is Nathan Walker. They lose CJ. The rally's going to come out by Paco. Right now, advantage is in BE Sports' favour. There's only the Diva left here for Sonic's place of Vindication Academy. And just like that, just when I thought that fight was lost, BE Sports come back with these composition switches to get back, and no one could touch Vindication. And again, it's 100 to 99, just to show again how close this series actually is so far. I mean, that looked shoe on for Vindication Academy to win there, but BE Sports, they come back. They had the Graviton Surge from Infinite Nuke. He died when he was about 85% to it. Comes back, they use the grab, they solo grab for Reinhardt and pick him off, and they pick off the Brigitte just before that, and just like that, it falls apart for Vindication. What are your thoughts after that first match of Control there, Amanda?
Yeah, it really felt like they just assumed they had won, and they were not able to finish it off fast enough, and then just there was enough stall from the side of Besports they were able to get back. Really well played on the side of Besports.
I mean, yeah, coming back, I mean, now we're underwell, and we have some competition fixtures. We have the floats coming out for BE Sports. They're sticking to a GOAT competition, or a variant of GOATs anyway. And on Vindication Academy side, they haven't gone back to spawn to switch. They are going to run out on this Orisa Hog, McCree, Fallon Mercy, Zen. More of a traditional comp, which you do see it on well. Orisa Hog are very meta, you have to say, on this point. Could we just see how BE Sports played is they're going to jump in with Joffrey. They use the projectile bubble on him as well. If Bob's going to fall to face Blitzy, obviously there's a lot of spam damage in this composition. A trade back 2 and 2, 3 and 3. We're actually even right now, both teams. Joffrey's very low on this Winston though. He's still alive somehow. This Winston is still alive. I don't even know. I don't even want to know how many HP Joffrey's coming on. It's got to be in the
Single digits.
Figures. He's on 1 HP. Joffrey is actually of 1 HP. He survived that entire fight on 1 HP for BE Sports.
Oh, the boop!
First quick control. That's a huge boop. And a huge pick. It Bobs falls as well to side. Joffrey eventually falls. A little bit delayed that kill, but it looks like they will take quick control BE Sports, but Vindication is going to take it straight back. Old CJ gets booped by Tedstar, who's trying to stall the point right now. He's still stalling the Lucio right now. Oh, he gets a little bit too high.
Gets a boop.
And he will get killed by Sinex Blaze.
But the late kill on the Orisa actually could give an opportunity for BE Sports to get back in here, because they're not going to have their shield. And they don't have a Lucio to speed it back.
Yeah, so a little bit of a delay. But the percentage was stalled for an extra like 6% there by Tedstar on that Lucio, and he's also brought up to a sound barrier as well, thanks to that boop on the Orisa, who's now made their way back now. A lot of ults on live for both teams. High Noon, the barrage again by Speedy Gons. We saw how clutch he came in, but that was a huge shot. But Joffrey's maybe managed to jump out of the
oh! The turnaround.
Yeah, onto phase Blitzy. That's revenge for hooking him there. High Noon comes in by Sinex players. I think that might have been to be reload, but it was nice in the Moira ball off screen there for me anyway. Bit of an embarrassing kill. They will get 43% on the point, but only 1 ultimate burned in this GOAT's competition, which was the Club of Rage by Joffrey, and he got a kill with it.
Oh, again! Speedy getting all these picks on his Pharah.
And the Moira will also force. Well, this is the beauty of the Pharah right now against GOATs. There's no full counter for him, so he's just spamming away like mad. He already has a barrage, but he goes to another one by now if he'd used it in the last team fight. You get 2 picks on the support. Angry Finish guy gets denet and finished off by the Pharah. Joffrey is still here in the fight though, so is Infinite Nuke and so is Tedstar. They're still contesting the point for BE Sports. As much percentage as they possibly can. They lose 2. Tedstar's still here. He gets picked off by Speedy Guns a bit earlier this time. Zarya is still up here as well, Infinite Nuke, but you just see they're going to push him. Looks like they will try to, but looks like Speedy's going to back out because Infinite Nuke has a lot of charge on the Zarya there to literally melt him out the sky. He does have the Graviton Surge as well. You can see how many ults right now BE Sports have. They have 5. They haven't been forced to use any, but there's also 5 on the side.
Oh, the Mercy! How did Mercy fall?
The grab comes in, obviously there's no Diva, so it can't be eaten. The Mercy falls, the barrage comes in, all of it gets eaten, in fact, by Angry Finch guy, who somehow stays in net, but eventually will be deneked as well. Obviously, they are down Mighty Jack on the Mercy as well, he got picked off
by Infinite Nuke there. I didn't see how that happened, but he got picked. That's not what you want your Mercy getting picked that soon in a team fight. And it just snowballs from there. The Gravitons Surge is used. A lot of ults are committed. Angry Finish guys coming out on mech right now as well. So maybe eventually this for Vindication if they can get in this fight quickly, because they have 3 ultimates online, or 4 in fact, because they have the Valkyrie as well. So maybe if they can take advantage before Angry Finish guy gets back into mech. He's very close though, and he's about to get back in mech now. So that's not going to an advantage. It's back to a 6v6 now, and if that was taken control against Vindication again. The bombs from Angry Phoenix guy not as good as the protector of anyone. High noon from Silex plays. Just zones them off the point so they can get on point and actually get set up with this. So it's a hard combo.
Oh, Silex does fall.
He gets a pick on its mob so before he falls. And
this is a very split fight.
Coming in by Faith Fritzy to get a DMech, or to help with the DMech and also pick off the Vegeta. Points being stalled though by Ted Star to 90%. Infinite Nuke. Again, it's extremely low in this area. Again,
he just lost his on the pit.
Probably in single figures again. Zarya here. Sonic Plays makes the switch over to the Doomfist now from the McCree. Goes in and instantly dies to Infinite Nuke. He goes too far, gets too confident. We're in last fight territory right now, and it's a 65. Oh, it's a 5v5 actually, because Angry Finish guys respawning. A lot of ults online for both teams, but Infinite Nuke has the Graviton Surge, but they do have the Transcendence to counter it here, Vindication. He's actually flanked round behind him. They don't know he's there, they just grabbed him off the point. They grabbed off the point right now, so it's a suicide over the point. Sonic
Plays two!
Gets one, Sonic Plays picks off Paco as well, but he will lose his life. Rez comes in on
Mercy falls.
Infinite Nuke. Jofi falls the Primal Rage as well, that's absolutely huge pick. Vindication Academy, they're just a clean up right now. We fought this last time, they're on ruins, and they weren't able to do it quick enough, and Besports made it back, but it looks like this time they've learnt their mistake, and it's going to be another 100 to 99%. Jofi come back on the Primal Rage there. It's too late to be able to wait. And we're level, and just shows again how close this series actually is, that both rounds so far for Control have gone to 100 to 99s, as we will approach the Lighthouse, which is our third and final map for Control, to see if Vindication can maybe level up the series, or if Besports will take a 2-0 lead.
This is just so close back and forth here. Right there, we saw B just like they really struggled against Speedy Gon's Pharah. Every single time they went to re-engage into to take the point back, it was always started with a pick from Speedy Gons on the Pharah.
Yeah, but it looks like we're not going to have any Pharah action this time. It's straight up now. It's Zen Goats against Zen Goats. So no Pharah this time. Probably a bit disappointing really for most, especially for Speedy Gons. Probably just wants to play that Pharah. Let him play it. Certainly helps you win that last round. Both teams are going to just meet here. Neither team walking towards the point really. Just try to broad it out and just build up this ultimate charge. I think Phase Brixie's shield actually just got broken there. So Vindication tries to step forward. DMX coming for both of the Divas there, so kind of in sync, but it's Besports that have made the first move towards the point, and they will start their point control now. This Vindication just regrouping and trying to get their mech back. There we go, Silence Players does get back into the mech. Angry Finch guys spamming away to try and get back in his mech, and he will. We're back to a 6v6 now. The point control is an advantage of Besports.
Oh, but they're all very low.
They're all very low. The stun comes in. Jofi falls. It's Bob's Transcendence is not enough to keep him alive. Transcendence comes in by Mighty Jack gets a boop onto Angry Finish guy. Bomb's also going to come in by Sonic's player. He's going to pick off its Bob. So that's a free ultimates being committed though from Vindication Academy. Just retake the point, and they haven't fully retaken it yet. You get the stun on Ted Star. He will fall, so the Lucio can't stop for too long. The Zarya is still here. Will fall. The will lose Nathan Walker actually to Vegeta, but he'll be back soon. 40%, well 39%. Is already built up to Besports, and a lot of ultimates online for both teams. Now they're going to get a nice stagger kill onto Paco there, and Vegeta trying to hide wasn't successful at all, but a lot of ults were burnt there. 3 ults were burned by Vindication Academy.
Vindication will not have a Transcendence though for this Graviton. They do have the sound barrier, but it's not really a substitute for Trans.
It's really not, but again we have Shatters online. Both Graviton Surges are actually online, and Besports also will not have the Transcendence available because both of them used it in that team fight there. Which are Sonic's plays, huge play on that Graviton Surge. Going to pick off Infinite Nuke. Shatter comes in, connects with 3. A return shatter by Jofi connects with 2, but it's not enough. Really, Jofi gets a mighty jack though, but will lose his life. Lucio will be back quicker than he will. They're going to get some late stag kills. Absolutely ginormous plays by Sonic plays.
Yeah, that Graviton Surge was absolutely massive. Because then you look at their ultimates they have. They have Transcendence. They don't have to use it. They have 5 ultimates in the bank right now. I also really don't agree with Joffrey deciding to drop the Shatter after his Zarya had died. Now you lost both your big tank ultimates. And that's a big investment for a fight that was already lost. And see, now they know they can spend their Transcendence. They know they can get aggressive. There's no grab for it.
The grab's going to come out by CJ. Sonic plays. He's going to go in there with the bomb. Connects with 2. Bomb comes in by Angry Finish guy as well, but that's not actually going to get anything. I think that was more used as a defensive bomb. Sonic plays. He's going to get a 3rd. He's absolutely incoming clutch from Mr. Eva right now.
So Angry's having to switch to the Hammond now just to be able to touch.
Well, they have to look at the percentage. It's 91%. They realise the advantage they have, and they get aggressive. Tedstar's going around on the Lucio to try and touch. The Hammond's also there right now. Tedstar's going to commit the barrier. Which only
he just beat it himself.
Yeah. Shatter.
Oh, the big shatter!
Absolutely huge shatter by FaZe Blitzy. They'll pick off Jofi. Infinite Nuke close to another Graviton Surge. So the Zarya is probably going to be focused next. Especially after burning that Mighty Drag Sam Baron. They do get Infinite Nuke. He's down. He had Graviton Surge. So FaZe is going to pick up its bomb in the background right now. Vindication. Tedstar falls. He can't store the point for any longer. Paco's also back on Begita to touch. The Hammond's now back for Angry Finish by. He gets stunned and gets picked off by CJ, and just like that, it's 100 to like 40% for Vindication, and they will level up the series now.
1-1.
Cynex plays there. If he doesn't eat that Graviton Surge, then we could be looking at a completely different result.
Yeah, that absolutely turned on the fight. And we see this play of the game right here with Speedy Gons just getting. He was doing a lot of work on this fair for his team. I think they would not have won this point without the pickoffs he was getting.
The play of the game is a little bit disappointing because it's only one environmental kills, but you know what? It all counts at the end of the day, and Vindication won't be moaning. They are not level in this series, but again, how close this series has been. It's actually been extremely entertaining to watch, and I hope everyone in chat is also enjoying watching this. Remember, this is the last PlayStation 4 Grand Finals. There is 2 more Xbox games later on as well, and I think we can take a little break.
Short break, yeah.
and welcome back. Wow, I can't believe we're at our third map. It seems like it's taken us absolutely ages to get to our third map. We were on about at the start of the stream about having a 5-map series or a 6-map series. I mean, we haven't even got to the third map yet.
I know, right? It's been 2 maps in about an hour so far.
It shows how close, though, the series really has been. We were talking about it, obviously, at the start of the stream. Identical records. You know, this is the grand finals at the end of the day, so you expect these games to be close, but even I haven't expected these games to be this close as they have. Pushed all the way. Route 66, 2 of the maps of Videos went all the way. Then off the third map of Lighthouse, it looked like Vindication started to sort of come into their own there. We saw some huge plays coming by Cynic's plays on the Diva, you know, eating that Graviton Surge. Just absolutely changed the whole team fight and probably the whole mood as well as a team, because probably saw how much more confident they got at that point, because it's like, okay, if we get grabbed, we lose, you know, and they eat the grab, it's like, okay, yeah, you know, looks on our side right now, let's win this map, and let's tie it up. And you know, we're going into Hanamura, and I always say this, you know, 2CP or Assault, as it's obviously known in Overwatch, it's one of those maps that just can turn a series on its head. I remember a game back in playoffs, there was a team that eased through the first 2 maps that were being played, and then they played Volskaya, and they got thrashed on Volskaya. Like they got destroyed on Volskaya. I think it was a quarterfinals match actually. Oh. So it was a best of 5 still, and like they lost Volskaya, and then because of that Volskaya thing, from there it just chain reacted, and they lost the next 2 maps and actually went out despite looking like the better team at the start.
2CP can be one of those game times that really can tilt a team. And there's those 2 extreme situations. You could snowball and cap second with like 6 minutes left, or you could be full held on first point. It's 2PC is insane, man. So I'm really curious to see how both these teams play it.
As long as this series has been, there obviously also is the possibility here that if there is a draw, we go to a map 6. So you know, this series is far from over, and I don't know about you, Rama, but I think I correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm not sure about some of the statistics for some of the other players' games. I haven't been able to watch all of them. That might potentially be the first map 6 grand finals as well if we do reach it. I think.
Yeah, we haven't had one this time. I really don't believe we have. Though we had one last season. Though, yeah, we hit one in a previous season, but not this current one.
I mean, right now, if it's a series which is going to go that far, it's looking like this one right now. But obviously, that would mean that both teams can't cap a tick on the first play of Hanamura, which I don't know if I could see that happening because of how well both of the attacks have been for both teams, especially Besports back on Route 66 as well.
Yeah, so it looks like I do have the ready from both teams. So, why don't we get the ball rolling on this game? It's been going on this long already.
Look, let's get into it. There's no time to waste right now. I believe, you know, this is probably the most entertaining series I think I have watched since the first grand final match, which I casted on the Monday. And that one went to map 5, which was an extremely close series. But this one's definitely been the closest that I have seen since then. So, Hanamura.
I want to hear your predictions here. So, at this point in time, you mentioned it could be a really close series. We've seen both teams take a map now. Do you think we're going to go to map 5?
I expect it to go to map 5, and especially now, when it's a level series, I expect it to go to map 5. If Besports had taken that second map, I probably would have said they're going to take a 3-0 and probably win Hanamura, because, you know, morale would maybe come into it. You know, you think you're 2-0 down, you know you need to win your next 3 games at least to be able to win the series, and maybe the confidence just goes down and they play with confidence. But now we're at a level series, I can definitely see this going to a map 5. I mean, we'll go into a map 4 either way. So, you know, at that point, who's stronger on King's Row? Well, we don't know yet, because obviously we haven't played it yet. But, you know, so we're going to a map 4 either way, so that's fantastic. It's more Overwatch for us, and hopefully be as competitive as the first 2 maps. But I do expect this to go to a map 5, and obviously you can't draw Legion Tower. And especially after Vindication, they've just won on Control there, as close as it was. Maybe they will be thinking they want to go to a map 5 as well, because they might have advantage on Legion Tower, because they've just won Control themselves. So,
essentially, it looks like we will have a mirror goats composition here.
And we've had a side switch as well. So Besports are now your blue team on defense, and Vindication Academy are the red team on attack. Now, and you are right, we do have the mirror here of the Zenyatta Goats versus Zenyatta Goats, and neither one of these teams going
for bunker composition to try and hold first. They just want to goats it out in the best way possible. Be interesting to see. I mean, I guess in this kind of situation, you maybe say the defense have the sort of advantage, and you can see the ultimate charge from the Zarya.
The fire's right, taking down Nathan.
The Silence Players gets demethed and then killed by Joffrey there. And I was about to mention about on defense here, you'd have to say advantage was definitely for the defenders, and even though CJ gets a late pick on
Zen kill,
it's a late stagger kill, so he's going to respawn later than the Zen afterwards, so maybe they could take advantage of the Zen coming back. But I wanted to mention about the ult charging, because the Infinite Nuke's already worked his way to a Graviton Surge, and Nathan Walker's only 70% to a Transcendence, and sometimes it's the defender's advantage that they can do a lot more damage as in sort of poke damage, as the attackers are obviously trying to come through this little choke here. And you can see by how quick this Graviton Surge has already been generated. Rayleigh's going to come in by Paco. Being fought.
Oh, demeched and killed.
Graviton Surge is actually used by Infinite Nuke just to clean up the rest of Vindication Academy.
A little bit of tactical crouching there.
So, Graviton Surge committed. So was the rally. So 2 ults coming out on the defense there for Besports. I guess Vindication, Vindication will probably be taking that, even though they did get team wiped in like 2 minutes. That's basically already been burned off the clock. But they all come back with their own ultimates, their own Graviton Surge, their own rally, and both support ultimates as well. So I expect a Graviton Surge to come out by CJ here. Eyes on Angry Finish Guy potentially eat it.
Yeah, it seems like they keep trying to push in and go towards this right door, but they keep getting like trapped as they go through it, and they're sending the bomb right in. Oh, big shatter! Oh, counter shatter!
Angry Finish Guy connects with 2 with the help of the Earth Shatter there. They tried to use the rally there for Speedy Gongs to go aggressive. They got a little split, and you saw how much poke damage they took as they came in there. You saw instantly the Zarya and the Begita went down to like half HP because it's Bob's, the Zenyatta was just chilling in the back lines, just firing balls in, just poke damage from the Zarya, right clicks, the Divas shooting, the Reinhardt's just swinging that. As soon as they popped the rally, all of them basically dropped to half HP, and that's why you see the Transcendence be used as well to heal them up. So CJ's going to go for the grab, it's going to connect to 2 of them.
Is there going to be follow-up though? I don't think so. No follow-up.
It's hard to try and connect without the bomb. It's going to go in by Speedy Plays. Not going to get. They're going to use Transcendence now. It's Bob's because they've just seen the Graviton Surge being used. We're going to use the rally as well to get aggressive, and Mighty Jack's going to fall. They're also going to get DMX on Silence Plays as well. Interesting use of the Graviton Surge. I think he tried to hook someone potentially round the
They
left
might have
side.
gone a little too aggressive because they did just lose 2 people.
I think the that Graviton Surge was trying to catch people on the other side of the choke, but he just got a bit unlucky. You do mention obviously they have both support ults, but there is a Graviton Surge online as well for the defenders. But right now, Infinite Nuke's actually currently dead, isn't he? Coming back from spawn, so you can see how much space Besports are actually giving now. So Vindication can get set up on this point. This is where they want to fight right now, and they need to with the time bank which is left. Tick is now taken, which means a draw is no longer possible. Shatter comes in, doesn't connect. Neither one of them actually connect. I think both of them was blocked. There's the Graviton Surge. Beat comes out first, then the Transcendence. They're going to pick off Joffrey as well. Silence Players going in there. Bomb comes in by Angry Finish Guy again. Doesn't get any kills this time. The Shatter's not there to be comboed. Rally's going to come in by Paco. Tries to stay alive. They use
Still think they can win it.
The stuff that they can win is they get the DMAC on Silence Players. There's a free grab for CJ. He's going to pop it out and connect with 4. All of them just in this grab right now. Shatter's going to be used by Trace Blitz as well, just to put them on the floor to make sure they can get them. Angry Fish Guy tries to get back a mech, but he's going to get demethed instantly. Vito's just left now, and that's going to be all she wrote. And eventually, in overtime, Vindication Academy will take first point of Hanamura here. They had to sacrifice a lot, the Graviton Surge and the Shatter, which they might want to kick for the Snowball. Infinite Nuke, however, though, does have a Graviton Surge to use it on the defense here to slow down any Snowball potential. Speedy Gon's going to come in with the rally. Vindication Academy, they're not waiting around. Silence Player sends in the Diva Bomb just to get him off point. Doesn't get any kills. There's the Graviton Surge, connects with 3. Where's the follow? Actually, full, because Silence Player jumps in as well. If Bob takes out Mighty Jack, but Joffrey's going to lose his life to Silence Player, who's very low on that Diva. He will be demet. Nathan Walker's going to get onto Paco, but FaZe Blitzy also falls. The Infinite Nuke, but also picks up Silence Player and Speedy Gon's. The Zarya coming in clutch right now on defense. A 4K for the Zarya of Infinite Nuke. Used to go for the Surge on the last fight. It was only 60% to another one. And he would stop the ball there.
We do get a nice replay here of just this Zarya laying down so much damage, clearing it up. It was already going to be a really hard time for them to snowball it without any ultimates to do so, because they spent so much on first point. But they did get a little bit of stuff done to force them to actually commit to the point. Now, time will tell if they can actually push through these chokes effectively, because it seemed like they had such a hard time pushing through the choke on first point.
Yeah, CJ's built up enough graviton surge, but just see if he goes for one man corner like he did before. Sort of drive play coming in by Sonic's players there. Interesting decision to do that. Bob's going to go in by Angry Fish Club. He's going to collect the two. He can't really hide down there. Gets the DMAC on the Sonic players as well. And despite Nathan Walker taking out the Head Star, that's not going to be enough. And Infinite Nuke now has his own graviton surge on the defense now. I wonder if I think Sonic's players there on the Diva, he came from behind to get into that choke. I think potentially he thought that they were going to grab them as they came up the stairs. So I think that's what his thinking was on the Diva, to come from behind and get the grab from behind Infinite Nuke. And then they would use grab themselves and get aggressive. But all that really happened, he just sort of just bumped into all of them. And obviously Infinite Nuke didn't have the graviton surge yet. He does now. And so does CJ. So the graviton surge usage is going to be what opens up this team fight now. Defensive ults online though for Besports, and the defensive all three support ults are available. They're very close on the attack as well. It looks like Vindication, they're going to go straight to point with the speed boost here. They're going to force them down. Rally's going to by Paco. There's the grab by CJ. Shatter's going to be used by
pop.
Shatter comes in by Face Blitzy. Both support ults are burnt. There's the graviton surge. There's no support ults to keep Vindication in this. They're going to pick on the Angry Finish guy though. So that is an opening for them right now.
Very split fight. What a boop of both tanks down. The bottom.
Sonic picks out Jofi. CJ falls to Infinite Nuke though. A lot of damage is now down for Vindication. I don't know if they can still win this right now. They're going to pick onto 10 star, but the respawn advantage is definitely going to come in handy. Infinite Nuke gets another kill onto Nathan Walker. He's just melted Diva right now.
Let's see the back out at this point.
He gets killed by Sinex plays though. It looks like they want to still contest this. Paco's going to use the rally. They're going to get 2 picks off of that, and they're going to have to get out. They don't actually get a tick. They're very close to taking a tick there. Vindication. A lot of ults being burned from both teams. Infinite Nuke again though. Look at that ultimate percentage. He's doubling CJ right now.
Nathan decided to switch off Zen, and he's going over to Moira. I wonder where that is.
This is be able to get on the point, contest on the point for longer. This is they want to fight on point right now. Vindication, because they want to get some progress on their second point, and their best way to win it is to fight literally on the point right now. They have the rally as well by Speedy Gons, which will probably be popped as soon as they drop. There it is. As soon as they drop to the low ground, they have to try to get some advantage off the only ultimates they do have. And obviously Moira's ult charges very quickly in hence a situation like this. With a bomb by Angry Finish guy, that's not going to connect. But FaZe Blitz is going to lose his life to Paco. They don't keep Reinhardt alive. The Reinhardt is now down in the Goats mirror.
Oh, big boo! Both tanks off the high ground.
Vindication needs to get some picks now. Remember, Besports have a massive spawn advantage. They're going to pop the rally as well. It's Bob's also going to get a pick. I think it's a shatter off screen by Joffrey, and it's just to clear up. The Graviton Surge is going to come out for no reason from Infinite Nuke, and it will be cleaned up. And I think the respawn advantage for Besports came in handy there. And I do have to actually correct myself. I did say that once a tick was taken on first, that a draw is now could now not happen. But I actually am wrong.
You're telling me you misled me?
Because if Besports cap the first point, but don't get a single tick on the second, the game will still end in a draw. So a draw is still possible right now for Vindication, well, for both the teams, in fact. So a draw is still available in this map type. Anyway, so I do apologise for getting that the fact wrong there. If Vindication had taken that tick, which they were very close to getting, then of course at that point a draw would not be available under any circumstances. But that is still available right now. But I don't think Vindication is going to be playing for a draw. You play for the win, really.
Yeah, that was a really, honestly, a really strong showing from BE Sports there. They nearly full held them on first point and then held them on second. Their goats play of these chokes, especially on first point, and their usage of their ultimates to separate the team have been really strong. Where it seems like Vindication was struggling to deal with the choke and could not appropriately push through that initial choke, and then when it came to second point, it just felt like they weren't fully sure how to approach it. I mean, second point Haramura is obviously always pretty annoying to attack, just due to there pretty much only being 1 or 2 good ways to go through it. But it looks like we're gonna have a little bit of bunker comp here in defense.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned about how the first hold on the first point, it only enabled in like 4 minutes to take second, and normally you can see like 7.5 minute time banks sometimes on Hanamura. We are going to have the bunker competition with the Baptiste, the Bastion. We have Speedy Gons is back on that Pharaoh. We saw how well he could use that on Ilios, so they'll be hoping that's going to be the key. And it looks like we actually have kind of repeat of Route 66 here, because Besports are going back to this triple support with the Baptiste and the Genji Diva Winston dive as well. And there is a dive coming in by Joffrey on that Winston, but Speedy plays.
Mortality field is being huge.
It burns through the immortality field instantly, and we're going to pick onto Joffrey as well. There's a D-Mac also wants the angry finish guy as well. Someone is on point though for BE Sports right now. It's actually just a Genji right now. Eventually, it's going to be focused down. Ted Star's also going to be picked off late. So,
Bastion pick. He will get res though.
The res is going to come in. The Genji's still here.
Yeah, how's Genji still alive? He's a blade.
He's already built up to a blade already. He's done so much poke damage, and this is obviously the composition we saw them on Route 66 to very good success as well. It was Paco coming in huge with those Dragon Blades, so he has the blade ready.
He's gonna be looking for an opportunity to wait for them to like to use their mortality field, and once it expires, they expect them to blade.
It has to be huge by Nathan Walker to keep him alive through this, and it is. They actually take out Infinite Nukes one as well. So Blaze is going to pop the tank formation here. It's going to get picked onto Paco. The Transcendence is committed by its Bob to try and stay in this fight. Joffrey gets a pick on CJ, but he's just going to be res. The Paco's also going to be res back in. He's going to get killed onto Nathan Walker afterwards. Bomb comes in. Just going to get the immortality field down. Mighty Jack's going to lose his life to its Bob, and right now, spawn advantage coming in handy. CJ's getting extremely low. Summer stays alive, but then he will die. Silence plays his bullets actually get deflected into him there by Paco, who's from the Genji.
Yeah, but this could give an opportunity for them to get in, similar to how they lost first point to Vindication earlier. These late kills can allow you to get back into these fights, and now they get positional advantage on the point.
I mean, right now there was just a Diva and the Bastion left, and if Face Blitz gets demet, and Silence Plays is going to fall. Looks like Rest of Vindication are returning, but they lose 2 in the process of even getting back. Speedy Gollins gets a pick onto its Bob, so that's an opening for him, but it will die to Paco on the Genji. Mike Jack also gets killed as he tries to get in. It doesn't look like CJ is actually going to try and contest the Orisa, and instead he's setting up for the second point. Yeah, they're setting up for this Bastion on the high ground. We can see Speedy Gollins going for the Symmetra switch. 5 minutes 20 to take 1 tick to retake the lead in this series and go 2-1 for BE Sports.
And they do another blade.
Yeah, Nathan Walker has to be quick with his immortality field and time it correctly, because obviously there's no more defensive ults on the side of this defense.
I can see a situation where they throw the bomb up there, get their mortality field out, and then blade them.
It could be a way for them to combo right now. Yeah, Psych plays. It's very close to having a tank form against CJ. Has the bongos. Speedy Gons did use his barrage in the last team fight. Oh no, he didn't. Sorry, he used he's now switched back to the Pharaoh after being Sim. So he's going to work towards getting a barrage. He picks off its Pops again in the team fight, and Ted Star as well. 2 supports.
Now, getting 3 picks.
Speedy Gons just picks off all 3 of the supports on the side of BE Sports. Just to get close to 60% already to that barrage after switching from the Sim to allow them to get set up on this high ground. Huge 3 picks. Infinite Nuke's now going to make the switch himself off the Baptiste onto the Sombra now, so we have a Sombra Genji dive. A bit more traditional composition, which we are used to seeing. Just over 4 minutes. Still plenty of time right now for them just to save the bolts and use them all together, but also Vindication Academy are doing the same thing. Remember, right now they're playing for a draw on this map. It's impossible for Vindication to win Hanamura now, only to draw or lose. So they've got a lot on the line in terms of drawing this, trying to draw this map. The BE Sports, they can take their time. There is the dive, coming in by all 3 of them. Silence Blade's going to take out Joffrey. There's the bomb, as well as the blade. CJ's going to fall. Nathan Walker has also died. Paco's blade is actually still active to take out Silence Blade during his tank
They
form.
do get the res.
You get the res onto Joffrey. Nathan Walker's also down.
We're gonna have
Flash. Phase Blitz C uses his bomb, gets a kill. Speedy Gons gets res back in. He has Got to use it eventually. CJ's coming back. He has these bongos. He still hasn't used it. Huge GMP. Connects with the 4 remaining people. Nathan Walker just respawning on the Lucio. Doesn't get hit. Sonic's plays. He's going to get killed onto Infinite Nuke. But CJ's going to fall. Again, he still hasn't used those bongos that I was there. Sonic's plays gets another kill.
Hitting 3!
It's a triple kill. As he switches from that Bastion on to the Tracer. Again, coming in clutch of Vindication. We saw it on Ilios when he hit that Graviton Surge. That Tracer switch to stall the point. I think props have to go to face Blitzy as well. He was the only one who stayed alive for Vindication. He stalls with the bomb. He gets a kick with it as well.
That was a massive investment from Besports there.
2 minutes 30. We've got some mods coming back. They have the bomb again. CJ again still holding on to these bongos, which he's had since the first point. So obviously waiting his turn for this. Speedy Cons has built up to another barrage.
Oh, Pac takes a direct hit rocket going down to 1 HP.
Interesting that Speedy Gods is not waiting to use barrage at this high ground right now. Sonic's plays is trying to battle the Sombra off screen, trying to keep him away. He won't be picked off by Speedy Gods. CJ gets really low. There's the bomb by Angry Finish guy. Doesn't connect. Jofi's going to pick off CJ there, but again before we can use the bongos. Transcendence comes in by its bombs. Looks like going to try to go for Rez. Rez comes in from both teams. Trades either way. Nathan Walker's down. Its bombs falls to the barrage. There is the fun of the bongos coming by CJ after 2 people have already fell. One of them being the Mercy. He will lose his life to Angry Finish guy as well. Stall has to come in face, but again's got another bomb just to get them off the point.
Oh, kills him before he gets remax.
Infinite Nuke gets the huge kill on him right now. They just have to stall for as long as they can. Nathan Walker gets slashed. Speedy Gonz is back on this Doomfist. Sonic Blaze is also here. There's another Blade coming in.
Another EMP.
A lot of ults just being saved up for Besports. I don't think Vindication could touch Sonic Blaze is back. Usually if you get hacked, he can't blink around. He'll fall. The Hammer's now back. They just have to stall this for so long and just trying to get one pick. Nathan Walker's back. He's very low. He's going to Speedy Gonz can't touch. And despite the stall, Besports will eventually, well, finally take a third map there of Hanamura and take a 2-1 lead in the series. Obviously, our 4th map is going to be King's Row. And again, how close the series has been in terms of these defense plays as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, to Paco. This time playing Brigitte though, not Genji.
Yeah. 2 very different roles.
Absolutely insane series though so far. As I said before, we started Hanamura. I don't think this is the end of the series. I think we will see a 5th map. So
yeah, I guess I'll find out in King's Row. I really want to see if teams are going to be running goats or if they're going to be running the. I expect goats in King's Row or if it's in the deepest compositions. But we'll be right back after a brief break.
Welcome back. Wow, this series, it's not over yet. I mean, it's 2-1 to Besports as we'll be going into our fourth map here of Kings Row. Obviously, home in England for me, and not for Ramo because he's from the NA, but obviously this is the EU side. So it's kind of appropriate how potentially this series is going to end on one of the few European maps which are actually in Overwatch. Potentially, anyway. I'm not writing off Vindication. I do expect them to win this and take us to a map 5. And I mean, this series has been absolutely insane. I mean, it's been going on for almost, it feels like absolutely ages. Considering, we have to flash back to Route 66 going into extra rounds. Same with Ilias as well. But Hannah Moore there, I want to speak to you, Ramo, and get your opinions on the different changes that was made. We saw Besports start on defense with goats, and that gave them a massive advantage. But we saw Vindication use the bunker comp, and even after losing the first point, they didn't switch off the bunker comp at all. So, what was your opinion on that? Why do you think they didn't make the composition switch after losing first?
I think that it can be done. It can definitely be held on second point with a bunker composition very well. If you don't, I mean, they're running kind of like a dive attack. If you don't dive it appropriately or able to survive the land compositions, you can actually hold quite well. We also saw them continue to run the Farah because obviously Speedy Guns he's been running Farah pretty effectively throughout this series, and we saw him even in that one section get 3 kills on the defense. I don't think it was a bad call to not switch it. I think it worked very well. I think the only reason they lost their defense there was just like the fight got very split and kind of investing a little bit of ultimates when they shouldn't have.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to Kings Row now, so it's going to be interesting to see if we are going to get the Goats v Goats matchup, which we had before Route 66 for a little bit. We had it on Ilios for a little bit as well, so I probably do expect both of these teams to come out on Goats for Kings Row. It's a very, it's a Scrims Row, whatever you want to call it now. It's a very Goats. It's always been good for tanks, Kings Row, since being in the game. It's my personal favourite map, and Lee Jang is my second as well, which will be our map 5 if we do get it. So I hope we do reach that. But we mentioned there about Speedy Guns, but we've also seen Sonic's players have some huge players on DPS, but he's also done some clutch players on Diva as well. So maybe Vindication might want to run some DPS heavy comps and go back to the triple DPS which they ran on Route 66 potentially for Kings Row with the Hammond. I don't know. We don't know what these teams have planned out for these maps, but I would expect to see Goats v Goats, and I think we are just about ready to go into our 4th map. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You are correct. We do have the ready up for both teams here, so let's get ourselves right back into Kings Row. Personally, I think we're going to see a lot of Goats v Goats because Kings Row is kind of the home of these tank compositions. But
Bunker could also come out on defense. It's not impossible. You do see people run the bunker compositions with the Baptiste and the Baptiste, a Junkrat, a Widow, Houston Outlaws used to run that all the time with, the Jacob out. This is where it's kind of made really on this map, So it's definitely going to be interesting. It looks like we haven't quite had a player who's fully loaded in yet. Oh, and we actually have a disconnect.
Yeah, it looks like I disconnected.
the owner of the lobby has now disconnected, so
yeah, so I think we're gonna go to
let's go to lunch break.
Yeah.
Well, we try to get my co-caster back into the game after that unfortunate DC. So eventually, hopefully, he will join sooner rather than later.
I have returned.
Okay. You have returned. So I think we are about ready to go, so we will all just on pause, and I will hand over ownership back to Head Rammer, because he's supposed to be hosting this and not me. So there we go, you can have control back of the game, and it looks like we are just about ready to go back into Kings Row. So it could be some interesting compositions. There's been side switches again, so Vindication Academy are now the blue team on defense first, and the red team is Besports, but obviously will be on attack. And it looks like they are starting on this composition. And what are your thoughts, Rama?
Oh, my thoughts are I got kicked from the game again, but watching the stream here, you know, I'm not entirely opposed to it. I think it's definitely a really good strategy you can use in first point, especially for you can see right there they're pretty much expecting kind of a fair position, kind of running the McCree to kind of help counter that, and the Moira to kind of absorb a bit more of that damage.
I mean, for some reason, it's not letting me actually invite you back as well, Headrunner. So this one's going to be a bit of an interesting cast for King's Row, which is a bit of a shame. But we will have the McCree Doomfist coming out on the defense. Very interesting to see the McCree Doomfist on defense rather than the attack. But it will be against the Zenyatta folks coming out by Besports. Trophy's going to instantly fall though, thanks to the stun. He gets knocked down, but it looks like they might sacrifice the tick in the meantime, and they will Vindication category. They have to move towards point now. Try and fight after giving another point. They actually get picked back off it there. No picks coming in for either team right now. FaZe Blitz is going to force angry finish by those. So the Reinhardt is down on the defense of Vindication Academy. And Science plays will take out angry finish by himself. Sacrifice 2 ticks. He's also going to pick off the top.
He's getting a lot of picks. Agreed.
Spawn advantage is definitely going to come in. Science plays is going to come around with this high noon to try and make it back off. But it's massive spawn advantage is for Besports, and they've already taken 2 ticks as well. They're going to use the rally here by Paco just to get aggressive on the remaining people, but everyone else has sort of got back now on the defense of Besports. So Vindication, Nathan Walker's reports, so Shatter connects with 2. Infinite Nuke though, it's a 4K with Zarya again. Series. Beanie Gons gets to pick on its bombs and going to use his ult just to get back on point to Storm, but eventually he will.
Yeah, they're gonna have the mirror goats at this point. But it's going to be very hard. They might lose the entirety of Street Phase just due to the ultimates that Besports has built up. I don't know if Senex was looking to switch to the Orisa or if he got stuck on the composition, but it's...
Yeah, interesting switch to the bomb for the Orisa. Now,
if I had to guess, I think he might have selected Orisa trying to go for Reinhardt.
I think maybe he was trying to go for D.Va, and he now. But they've had to sacrifice a lot of room to get there, and if you could try and get back in the game, Headrunner, that would be very handy.
Yeah.
I am trying to fight you. For some reason, Blizzard is not allowing me, so looks like it's just going to be difficult for a while. Look at the attack ultimates as well. They have the Graviton Surge with competition switch coming in now to the Zenyatta. There's no transcendence for this Grav, so Infinite Nuke might just throws it out nice and early. CJ, those also Graviton Surge. They've got a lot of free progress on the street phase here for Besports already.
There should be no reason though Besports loses this fight though. They have 5 ultimates and it hits a massive shatter. The Soundbreaker comes in, but it is too late as they decide to pop the Graviton to just like finish it off. Second point.
Graviton Surge and they use the bomb. They commit 3 ults just to make sure that they're going to cap this second point here. There's only a bit of stall to come in from Vindication and Academy, but I don't think it's going to be enough because they need to get kills. The Surge player is going to get killed. They're not going to stagger the play with D.Va out. It looks like second point is going to go to Besports now. I mean, the questions has to be asked. You know, you start on the McCree Doomfist and it works. Sometimes players gets the picks, but then he sort of makes a sort of mistake and gets stuck on Orisa. Has to go all the way back to switch to the D.Va, so you lose all that, you give up all that free space on the street space when you could have had a team fight. You know, you've made the switch to go to the right now because you weren't winning these supports as well, which meant you didn't have confidence for that grab. It means you have it now, but there's 2 kills coming in instantly. Silence players has actually booted off by 10-star there.
No kidding, it's just complete wiping.
And, I mean, just like that, it's rolling right now. They're just snowballing through Besports. You know, they're starting this GOATS competition, which meant they've been able to build up these ultimates. They're saving on to 3 support ultimates right now, and Joffrey's approaching another shatter. Vinny Gonson's going to use the rally just to get into the fight now for Vindication Academy so they can call it out. Another boot comes in, it almost gets played. So they've got to search by CJ, responded by Isbob's Transcendence. They are going to lose Paco though. The Brigitte is down to the Reinhardt charge. Remember, he can still get picked even during Transcendence if he pins someone against the wall because it doesn't stop burst damage. And it will be just a regroup coming in now for Besports, but this is the first time the payload can stop for the entirety of King's Row. And look how close it is to that 3rd point.
Yeah, but 3rd point can be very, very difficult to kind of push through, especially when you're going against a team that has pretty mirrored ultimates to your own. Now that they've actually been able to build up their ultimates, I don't know if I fully agree with the, now looking back, I don't know if I fully agree with their decision to run that composition on 1st point because it really snowballed super hard.
I mean, yeah, right now, ultimate advantage is online for Besports, and the bomb's going to come out by Sonic's plays. They're going to use that to grab. Shatter's going to come out by Phase Bitsy to try and stop any follow-up. Butte comes in, and Finish Guy's going to get another 2k. Actually 3k actually with bomb, because it gets the DNF as well. Combo of the ult is definitely better for Besports right now, and because they were just able to snowball and build up those ults, they didn't even have to use them. They're going to finish with a very impressive 3 minutes and 3 on the board here on King's Row, and I mean that's a message to the Vindication Academy right now. They need to complete the whole of King's Row and also set a very good time as well. Remember, you really start with 4 minutes on King's Row, and they finished with 3 minutes and 3 seconds left. And I think a lot of it does go back to the fact that they got such a free run on the streets there towards the second point because of the composition switches that Vindication had to make, which also resulted in Sonic's players being stuck on the wrong hero for a few seconds as well. And it looks like Raman, I think you're still having some connection issues, my friend.
Yeah, just restarting my game, but I'm watching. Don't worry.
So unfortunately, it looks like my podcast I can't fully join me. I don't know if you've restarted the game to try and reload it. Maybe that will help.
Yeah, but so now we go into their attack run. I mean, I really hope that Vindication comes out with kind of a mirrored Goats composition, because that's, I mean, this is King's Row. I mean, you're going to see a lot of Goats v Goats. You might sometimes run a deepest composition on the attack of King's Row, but you don't really see it a whole lot on defense for just those reasons. Because normally, you know, if you lose first point, you're pretty much expected to have to switch to kind of that Goats composition due to just how the map works.
Yeah, you know, they come out on the defense of the Queen Doofus, and I did mention it about how it's more of an attack comp than it is a defense comp. And
yeah,
players getting a lot of picks. They've lost a lot in the meantime, and eventually they just got overran. And it looks like finally he's been able to return to the lobby. So Headrammer is now back. It looks like Vindication will be coming out with this Goats composition. It looks like Science players are staying on the Widowmaker to try to get an early pick. Everyone else switch back to the Diva, and we will have the mirrors of Zenyatta Goats versus Zenyatta Goats now. And you know, time is definitely not on Vindication Academy's side. They need to do this as quick as they possibly can to try and give themselves more of a time bank here on King's Row.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see them already kind of bullying their way onto presence on the point. Leaving themselves in a pretty good position, though they are taking a lot of damage.
They're a little split right now. Science plays is a little split. They have to burn the barrier to try and get the Diva out. So the pressure might come onto the Reinhardt right now. You can see the aggression coming in, and Faith Vixie's going to fall because of that. They used Zarya projected onto Silent Plays and the Diva to get him back to the team because he overextends. Besports recognise it and just put pressure on the Reinhardt and pick him off instantly. So Faith Bitsy falls, the Reinhardt falls, and just like that, the Goats competition falls apart with it. They get charged all the way back to spawn, but there's no more sort of late second kills which they could have got, but they've already burnt off over a minute on the clock already, just from being just so reactive there to realise the advantage that they had for esports and take advantage of it. Vindication though coming back in. Faith Bitsy's a little split to the rest of his team, will get the bubble a little early there potentially.
Oh, big shatter! Is there follow-up for it though?
Looks a huge phase by Faith Bitsy there, connected to.
Dropping to 1 HP.
Barrier has to come in to keep Joffrey alive. It's going to be responded by the Transcendent.
But we're going to see a grab after this.
That's a Graviton Surge. Both essentially Graviton Surge from CJ actually comes out first. Connects to Sue's no follow-up bomb. The bomb from Angry Finish Guy. Their Infinite Nuke just to have Graviton Surge himself on the defense. He hasn't used it yet. But I need to now that Phase Bixie's fell. Thanks to the gang up with the Diva and the Vegeta there. And just like that again, a lot of ults being committed in that fight. They commit a Graviton Surge. They commit a Transcendence, which now means they only have Sound Barrier left to prevent against Infinite Nuke's Graviton Surge. We do have to mention about as well how well Infinite Nuke has played on this area. Like, he's almost doubling CJ for Graviton Surges so far this entire series. So it's actually been insane what he's done on this area, and he has one ready to go. And look at this, 1:40 left on the clock. Time is definitely not on Vindication side here. This is the grand finals right now. They lose this map, they're out, and they lose the grand final to the Besports. So a lot on the line, money as well on the line as well. Please remember, early rally going to come in by Paco. Graviton Surge is also going to come in. They just lock them all up.
Ooh, you don't want to be in that hotel, man.
Bomb still committed by Cynic's plays. Infinite Nuke actually, his Graviton Surge actually hit the stairs. He didn't actually get into the hotel. Actually, weirdly enough. missed it by a little bit, but the bomb commit by Sonic's Blaze is very dubious, especially when they're that close to a combo with the Graviton Surge, because CJ now has the Graviton Surge ahead of the team fight. But both support ultimates are aligned for Besports right now on defense, but they're going to lose it to Pop. That's an absolutely ginormous pick by Nathan Walker. They use the rally to realise they've got this aggression. They can't go too far because they have to stay on point, temporarily step off there, so they lose a little bit of percentage. They're just going to hold on at this arch now that leads into the streets phase. The Zenyatta are coming in clutch there. They'll be able to save on to this Graviton Surge with CJ is now just built up. They only commit the value. There's a bomb coming in by Angry Fish guy from behind. Shatter comes in.
Doesn't get anyone.
Shatter's actually blocked despite the stun Shatter potential. There's the Graviton Surge, connects with 5. Trans
There's a follow-up though.
Doesn't actually connect fully into wall stun damage.
They're gonna have a grab.
By Paco, there's another ball. He's down. There's only 10 seconds left. Sonic's players gets met. There's Graviton Surge. 2 people that are left. Riley tries to come in. I don't think there's anyone left. Vindication Academy, and there's just Mighty Jack. He falls, and that's going to be where it ends. On
3-1 for Besports.
Besports or Besports, whichever one you'd prefer to call them, win the grand finals 3-1 against Vindication Academy. Extremely close series. Infinite Nuke on this Zarya definitely coming in clutch for them throughout this entire series. As you can just see him just melting down people here. A bit of tactical crouching also being involved in the play of the game there as well. Why not? Absolutely insane series though, wasn't it, Rama? I mean, do you agree or do you not?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, right when we started out with a 6-4 Route 66 game, I knew this was going to be... incredibly dominant here on King's Row. And Vindication was unfortunately not able to hold them or proceed past first point. But honestly, we had really impressive play from both teams. Players from each team popped off multiple times at a time. We saw Cynex eating grabs. We saw Speedy Gons getting work done on that Pharah. But just impressive play here from both teams.
I mean, it's absolutely sort of insane grand finals. That was by far one of the best grand finals series which I've seen so far throughout this week. But no, we're not fully finished. There's still 2 more to come later on today. But on the Xbox side, but for PlayStation right now, that is the last grand finals which we have, and I don't currently have it in front of me right now. So I don't know if you can maybe tell me, Rama, about how much money Besports have actually just won from winning that grand finals. That would be extremely helpful because I can't currently remember how much it actually was for the prize pool. So hopefully you will remember, or someone will remember.
Yeah, for the prize pool for the diamond tier here is $350.
So, you know, was that $350 if I remember
Yes.
right? Yeah, see, I remembered that all along, chat. I knew that all along. So, Besports, they will win and they will become the champions of the Tier 4 Diamond. Obviously, I believe this is actually the first time that PlayStation 4 has actually been involved in CGL. So, I mean, absolutely, that was an insane finals. And in the end, we don't get to see a map 5, which is always disappointing because that series deserved to be to a map 5, in my opinion. I don't know about you, Rama. It would have been really nice to see that go to a map 5, you know, really tense sort of game. One mistake and you lose the grand finals kind of thing. But I mean, we didn't have to put action in here. Obviously, you unfortunately got disconnected from the game, but you were able to still see it as well. But you know, Vindication now, looking back, starting on that McCree Doomfist on defense was probably not the best idea, really, was it?
Yeah, that kind of allowed a big snowball to happen, and them to be able to win first point without really having to spend anything, and it kind of snowballed in the second point where actually I do think Besports actually a little bit over invested on their second point because they could have used results probably to transition to a third point snowball, but that actually allowed some time for Vindication to come back and build some of their ultimates of their own, but that just didn't end up being the case. So then Besports took the win here on this map. So we're going to transition here to a little bit of a post-game interview after some game highlights.
Well,
Hello.
here we are at the end of an absolutely insane series to watch. In the end, it ends up Besports becoming the Diamond Tier champions with a 3-1 win after just finishing down in Kings Row. And Mama, just to reflect back on what we've just seen in that entire series, I mean, it started off with madness with Route 66. I mean, that went all the way to extra rounds for, like, I think for the first time in CGL, like, grand finals. And I think it's props to both of these teams. They had identical records when they came in, so we expected a close game. But did you expect that close of a game?
I really didn't. I mean, I had kind of a hope that it might be close, but it was really, you could tell both teams really, really wanted this win, and they've kind of put their all into it. Every single time you saw like something was over, something would happen, and like one of the teams would decide to clutch, and then the game would be pushed longer and longer. One of the things I think we saw throughout this series was both these teams are incredibly good. I feel like though what really allowed Besports to kind of win this series was kind of off the back more of their team play and coordination. I felt a lot of times their usage of their cooldowns and their ultimates was just more coordinated, and they had a plan going into each fight. Not that Vindication didn't, it just felt much more consistent from Besports. And it felt like Vindication oftentimes relied on a bit of clutching from like their DPS players. In the case of like Speedy when he was playing Pharah, or Eat and Grav. Not that those aren't the amazing plays; they are amazing plays, but it's something you can't always rely on. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Philadelphia Fusion, where oftentimes they relied so hard on like Carpe popping off, and when Carpe didn't pop off, they lost.
I mean, just looking, backing out some of the highlights on Route 66. You mentioned there about the team play. We saw how often BE Sports was setting up the combos between the Shatter and the Bomb. And for Vindication, I didn't actually see them execute a combo once with a Graviton Surge. So maybe that could have been like a little difference there, that BE Sports were just working better as a team. They could coordinate using the ultimate better as a team. I mean, we saw wacky comps on both teams with a bunch of DPS, but BE Sports came out with that triple dive with the Baptiste. So it's like triple dive, triple supports, which was a really weird comp on Route 66, which took me by surprise, let alone Vindication. And they also run that out on Hanamura as well. But Vindication, they brought out the McCree Doomfist on defense in Kings Row. They stayed in a bunker on Hanamura. I mean, we mentioned about Hanamura before we went into it, about that is a series that can turn, that's a map that could change an entire series on its head. So do you think after they were held for that long on their attack, they was able to get first point, but they have barely had any time really to build up massive ultimates to wipe out Snowball into second, and then they were held without even getting a single tick. I mean, do you think at that point is where the series turned into BE Sports' favor?
I do think that's kind of when it started going. I mean, that's always like it can always be a huge mental thing, especially when like you thought you had something and it's just like you lose it at the very last second, or something just goes wrong. But I really think, I don't know if that's what really lost it, but you could tell at one point in time there was definitely like a shift in the game, like going between Hanamura and Kings Row. There was definitely, it felt like a shift in the gameplay from the side of Vindication.
And with like how impressive that BE Sports, obviously, they came out in Kings Row and set basically a ridiculous time with over 3 minutes on the clock still, and Vindication, they brought out you have to call it a weird composition with McCree Doomfist on defense, and they paid the price because they had to make the switches onto Goat, so they was always behind in auto comedy, and especially the one point of Streets, we saw Sonic get stuck on the Orisa when he obviously wanted to try and go Diva. So I don't know if you could put it down. I don't think you could put it down to luck that BE Sports were. They looked the most comfortable they'd looked throughout the entire series on Kings Row after winning Hanamura. So I don't know. I don't think you could put that down just as a coincidence, but I think it was more of a case of they knew they were one map off, so that's when they sort of brought their best, which they possibly could, into that one map, and just hoping that was going to be enough to win the whole series, and it was in the end.
Yeah, I also feel like this is kind of something both teams did. I noticed a lot in the early parts of the series that I was really impressed with. Even though this is the Diamond tier, so it's not like the top of the top players. I was really impressed with how both teams kind of scouted and adapted compositions, especially in the early parts of the game, where we saw a lot of it in the goats mirrors, where like one team would see that they're running, the DPS, so they switch to the Moira, and immediately whenever the other team goes to mirror to goats with Zen goats, we saw someone go back to spawn, switch to Zen, immediately back. There was no hesitation in that play. We also saw it with running. We saw it on Ilios Ruins, when Besports came out, and they came out with the composition expecting that Vindication would be running more of the DPS like Vera composition. So we saw them have a hit scan, we saw them have a Moira, and right when they scouted that Vindication did not have that, they just left the point. They walked back to spawn and switched their compositions to the mirror and went back to fight.
I mean, yeah, some people call that Overwatch League tactics, don't they? Because it happens a lot in the Overwatch League and like contenders and stuff. It happens a lot more at the higher level. You are correct that it would really at the lower level, but in this kind of situation, when you're in a grand final, those little things can make a massive difference. And there was one point you mentioned about why I think it was Vindication. They switched to a Moira off the Zen, and I was on about how Moira was it was on Hannah Moore actually. In fact, they made the composition switch to go to the Moira rather than Zen because of how quick Overwatch can get in goats and how quick she can move around the point, and she's a lot harder to try and kill straight up than a Zenyatta is. But like neither team used that fully to their advantage. Like Moira was kind of just used as a peak against DPS comps, especially as well. That was coming out. We saw a little bit more Moira than we did Zen. But I think both teams kind of favoured playing the Zenyatta version of goats. We did see Besports. They ran the Ana variant on the first point, trying to hold it in extra rounds on Route 66. So there was quite a bit of variation between what kind of goats compositions were ran as well. Obviously, we got to see some DPS. We got to see Sykes Blaze on. He was on King's Row there. He kind of popped off on the McCree, and he'd done it early on in the series as well, but it just quite wasn't enough. And I guess it's always the thing, like DPS against a goats composition, you need to be very coordinated, and the Pharaoh play as well was also very good at Ilios. In fact, it probably enabled them to win that whole series. But we only saw it again on defense on Hanamura, didn't see it on King's Row. So maybe Vindication would have been better sticking on those DPS comps, because they obviously favoured playing them because they played them on defense on King's Row, when traditionally you wouldn't play a DPS comp on defense unless you go for a bunker traditionally.
Yeah. Either way, an amazing series here between these two teams. But that's not that over the action. We do have 2 more games later today. The Xbox NA GM tier finals, the Throne versus Banditos. That's going to be an absolutely crazy match with special guest Scary Dragons, casted by Korbeck. That match is probably going to be pretty insane. Both those teams are like 4.4, 4.5k teams, and it's going to be a pretty big heavy hitter right here in CGL1 at 5 p.m. Eastern time. We also have the Gold NA finals with Instalock versus Petrior. I actually don't know how to say that name. At 7 p.m. Eastern, casted by Chef Billy and Blaze. At 7 p.m. Eastern here on CGL1, also Xbox. And I know you guys are probably wondering, we were not able to get any of the Besports members for an interview, unfortunately. Some of them could not get into a Discord call, and the others did not want to do an interview. So we unfortunately do not have one of those for you today.
There were 2 pieces celebrating the win and the $350 which they just made from becoming the champions here of the Diamond tier of PlayStation 4. But that's all from me for today. And is there any final words that you want to say, Rama, before we get out of here? And please, before I leave especially, you mentioned about that Xbox game. That starts in about 50 minutes for people that don't know the conversion rate between time zones, wherever you're watching. So in 50 minutes time, that Xbox game, that huge one for the Grandmasters, will be live on this channel in 50 minutes. So bear that in mind. If you've got some time to tune in, please come and tune in. I know for one, I'll definitely be watching that match because it should be a very entertaining series. But any last words to myself, Rama?
No, just stick around here in this 50 minutes. Like you mentioned, it's going to be a crazy match. Congratulations to both teams.
Thank you very much for watching, guys.